How's everybody doing? It's everybody's favorite conservative in New York, Christopher Wright. Here to present you another one of my momentous walk and talk videos. Remember, if you enjoy the content, to please like, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. So, what's today's walk and talk going to be about, you might be asking? Oh, man, it's the Democrat Party, man. What a disaster. What a disaster. So, I mean, there's plenty of places I could begin, but I want to start off with, what's going on in the Iowa caucus. I mentioned a little bit in my last video, but I kind of want to go more in detail. If you guys haven't been in tuned, they had the Iowa caucus, and, they had 144,000 votes to count for the caucus to see who's going to be, the winner of that state. And when they did it, it took them about, like a week and a half to get the final results. And it turned out Pete Buttigieg came in first place when all their polls and everything leading up to his event and pretty much showed him not even on the radar. And then he ends up winning Iowa, and Bernie Sanders comes in second place. And if you ask me personally, my opinion on the whole matter, it's that Bernie won that state, but they were in such a panic because if you guys haven't been watching, of course, the Republicans out there don't want Bernie anywhere because he's a socialist, and neither do the Democrats. But since they've been focusing on hoaxes for the past 3 years, they pretty much are now stuck with one person that had a policy, which is Bernie Sanders, which is a socialist policy. So I think he won the state, and they were just in panic, so that they were trying to switch around votes and do whatever they could at the last moment to get somebody in there other than Bernie Sanders. And so they got Pete Buttigieg in there to win the state, and they knew there was going to be no backlash, because any backlash coming from anybody on the left about Pete Buttigieg would be looked at as being homophobic. So that's just my personal opinion. But anyways, Buttigieg came in first place in the state. I got like 13 or 14 delegates or whatever. And forgive me for the camera shaking a little bit. I don't got my gimbal attached today, so I'm walking just with my hand. But anyway, so he won the state. And then a couple days back, they had a New Hampshire primary, and Bernie Sanders is coming in first place in New Hampshire. So Bernie Sanders comes in first place in New Hampshire. After he comes in first place, Pete Buttigieg comes in second, and a lady named like Amy Koshabar or something like that. I don't know the lady's name. She ends up coming in third place. And if you look at both of the primaries, oh my goodness, Joe Biden, everybody's favorite, sleepy, creepy Uncle Joe. He comes in the fourth place in Iowa, and then he comes in fifth place in New Hampshire. So the guy's not on anybody's radar, and it's just incredible to me because this is the guy they were putting all their eggs in the basket, and it was on Joe Biden. And anybody who's been in politics long enough knows Joe Biden is not a strong candidate. He's never has been, because he opens his mouth eventually, and when he talks, he's always putting his foot in his mouth to make himself look foolish, and that's what's been happening. If you saw recently, he called somebody at one of his rallies. A young lady asked him how he expect to win the primaries, when pretty much he's coming in fourth and fifth place at these events, and he called her like oh my goodness, I can't remember the word. It's like a pony, like a ponytail, pony-shouldered, something crazy like that. I can't remember. This guy's always making up words. Remember he bust out malarkey a while back. And so he just disrespects this young lady and embarrasses her. And she goes on Twitter that day and pretty much said she was ashamed and embarrassed about his remarks and all that stuff like that. So this guy is pretty much, shooting himself in the foot. And not only does he do that, but he's also, if you watch him at his previous rallies, he also talks to other candidates. And pretty much when people confront him that are on his side, his supporters, and they confront him about any issue, he just says, oh, just vote for Trump then, just vote for Trump. So this guy is telling people to vote for the opposition. So he has no game plan whatsoever. He's just totally foiling his own campaign and ruining it for himself. And this is who the Democrats, the establishment Democrats, the media, they all kind of said Joe Biden's our guy. And this is what they're getting. Yang Gang, everybody's favorite. The whole Yang Gang with the guy with the whipped cream in people's mouths on their knees and all that stuff. He ended up dropping out yesterday. So he dropped out. There's no more Yang Gang. That's officially over. But he wasn't really a strong candidate anyways. Even when he was putting out decent numbers for a moment of time, the media stopped covering him and stopped saying his name like they did with Ron Paul a while back. So, it's like, the Democrats they're just fooling themselves, man. And since they're doing all these mistakes, man, they're only stuck with the only candidate that's coming out and, with a policy, and that's Bernie Sanders. socialist. And this video, what I mainly want to speak about is something very important in regards to the Democratic Party. And if you're on the left, listen to this, please listen closely. It looks like your party is going to be splitting. In my opinion, the party is going to split. And it's going to split into the moderate left, the Democrats, the traditional Democrats that we've known for the last 20, 30 years. And it's going to split into radical leftism, and that's socialism pretty much. And that's what we're heading to right now. So we're seeing the AOCs, the Rashid Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars, all these crazies on the left, and they're representing socialists, radical leftists, bringing in Islam inside Congress and anything like that, like a Trojan horse. So this is who people want to lead, and this is what your party is pretty much presenting to the public. And what I'm trying to tell people, they got to be aware of what's going on, because, if you're on the left and you're still Democrat, this is where you're heading. What's it going to be? Do you want to become, say, you're a full-on socialist, or you want to say, hey, I'm a traditional Democrat, Chris, I'm not a socialist, I don't believe in this radical belief system that we're coming with? Then you need to vote for Trump. I hate to tell you that, and I'm going to be a little honest with people here. In 2016, President Trump was the first president that I voted for that I was a Republican. I was a Democrat all the way up to that. I told you guys in my previous videos who listened to me for a while know this. And when I voted for Trump in 2016, I didn't vote for Trump. And I said, okay, this is, my life choice. I'm going to be a Republican for the rest of my life. I just thought he was a better candidate in 2016 than obviously crooked Hillary. And I voted for him. And I said to myself, okay, Trump, I'm going to give you 4 years. If you don't come out and do what you're promising the American people you're going to do, then I'm going to go back to voting Democrat again. And that was my choice at the time. And as Trump, started, governing and becoming president, a couple of years went by, and I said, oh, wow, this guy is doing more than enough to have my vote in 2020. So I didn't but what it is, I didn't vote for, my whole point was I didn't vote for Trump going and saying, hey, I'm a Republican for the rest of my life. I said, I'm just voting for the better candidate who I feel around. I'm going to give him a chance to see how he does. But if he does a bad job, I'm going to go back to the left. And that is true independence. And that's what I'm asking people on the left right now to do. Where a lot of people are walking away, if you guys see. Trump's rally in New Hampshire had about 30% Democrats, they said there. So people are starting to turn around. But even if you're not turning around yet, you're not fully away from the left, don't fear voting for Trump in 2020. It doesn't mean you have to be like, okay, I vote for Trump. I'm no longer a Democrat. I've changed my whole... No, you can vote for Trump. And then after 4 years, if the candidate on the left comes by that you prefer, you can vote for, that candidate. It's just, that's how being a true independent voter works. And just look at it like that. And, that'll be your best bet, man, because the left is about to split. It's going to split, like I said earlier, to a far radical leftist agenda and a more moderate Democrat. And it's going to leave a lot of people, just sitting there looking silly. Like I tell people all the time, when I was voted for Trump, I didn't leave the left. The left left me. They left me behind. Because when they started going radical and, allowing people to wear hijabs and, Congress buildings and all that stuff like that, I'm like, what the heck are y'all doing? And now that kind of belief system has backfired on them. And their supporters are waning away. And the AOCs and the Bernie Sanders are taking over the party. And it's turning into something that looks totally different from traditional Democrat policies. So it's time to make that choice. So as you guys see, this is who we got, man. When it comes to our candidates on the left, it's going to be Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders is coming down to, it looks like. And, if you are down with the Buttigieg movement and want a first man in that, well, I guess you call him a first lady, or what do you call him, first man in the White House instead of a first lady, go ahead and go with old Pete Buttigieg, or you can choose Bernie Sanders and become a socialist. So not much of a choice there. So anybody with common sense, I recommend going out there and supporting Trump in 2020, help give him that landslide that he's going to get, and we'll be all good to go. But like always, for everybody listening, thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you guys. And like always, God bless the United States of America. Peace out.